Hello, everyone. Everybody hear me okay? Good. Well, I've just got a few seconds left. Okay. So I will try and speak slowly and see if the translator won't go nuts. Okay. Mike, if you'd start us off with the mandala offering, please.
Sashi Paki Jukshin Metok Chum Rira Bling Shin Yinde Gen Padi Sange Shingdu Mikte Uvargi Jokun Namdak Shing La Drupar Sho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami.
I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of this goodness that I do, in giving in the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving in the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, I will reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. Okay, a couple of just administrative things. I'm going to ask review questions at the beginning of class from now on. So I'm not going to ask individuals, but this is just to check and make sure you've done the homework. Not today, but from now on. Let's see what else. Oh, I believe you all got some handouts I sent. One is the refuge prayer alternatives. If you take a look at that, see if I can get it to come up on my screen. Come on, there you go. Okay. At the beginning of the third line in the Tibetan, if it's personal practice, you would hear him say, Daki Jinsok. So if you're doing the Tibetan refuge prayer, you would say, you say Daki Jinsok, and that means it's personal practice. When you're attending a teaching, you would say Daki Chuyen, because you're attending a teaching and receiving a teaching by listening to the Dharma. And if I'm doing the refuge prayer, speaking it to you, I would say Daki Chushe, because by my explaining the Dharma. So I just give you this because sometimes you may have heard different wording in the Tibetan. So I thought you'd like to know what the difference is. Okay, what's the other thing? Oh, I gave you the alternative mandala offering. this is what I said in 3-year retreat for the mandala offering, the short mandala. So I just give you this as something to have for your reference. I'm not asking you to memorize it or anything. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get into class. Let's see, how many people do we have? Well, we could do a short rejoicing. Okay, so I can't pronounce most of your names. Well, I can give it a try. Okay, Cornelia, you're up first. What do you have to rejoice about?
So I had the opportunity to send toys, foods, and vitamin products to a children's home in Romania. In doing so, I have planted surprise, time, and help.
Excellent. Wow, good for you. How did that come about?
I was with my partner and I, we was in a term, or sorry, I translate, one moment, please. So before Christmas, I was in a spa and had been thinking about how I could help the world. And this thought came to my mind, and so I checked this.
Good. Excellent. Okay. Leela, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Leila. Hi.
Hi.
I just this morning had an intense workout and I throughout most of it was just rejoicing for the ability of being able to use my legs and arms and breath. And the other thing I've been experiencing this last week is, as the new year has started, the ability, the fact that I have a roof on top of my head, the fact that I have I guess if you could call it even luxury, to be able to dive into practices like this, and not be needing to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have the luxury, the good fortune, and that all came from in the past providing those very opportunities to others. And so in this life, as you rejoice on those things and help others have those very same things, you're setting the seeds for in the future for you to again have them. So that's really astute to be thinking about, especially like you say, having the arms and legs, because I have a nephew that's paralyzed from the shoulder down, and he doesn't have the use of those anymore. Okay, who's next on my list? Katerina. Yeah, I can't hear you.
I rejoice. My friend who studies ACI also, he asks me for help how prepare his body for asana lotus, and I know he wants this asana have a good meditation. I help him.
Okay, I barely heard that. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry. I'm right.
Okay. Oh, this isn't working so well. Who's next? Svetlana.
Hello. Good morning, Venerable Sumati. Hello, everyone. I would like to rejoice that today I had a walk. We had like blue sky, and I observed that my mind is becoming more peaceful. Like I don't have like some desire to go somewhere or to need something. I can just have a walk and enjoy blue sky. And I dedicate these seeds to good concentration in my meditation practice.
Good. It's something we take for granted. So to appreciate the surroundings, the nice weather, those kind of things, again, knowing where it's coming from helps generate the kind of environment you want in the future. Okay, Mike. Well, I guess Mike isn't there. Let's go with Daria.
Good morning, Lama Sumati. I'm a joy. Today I've had the birds. No, wait, birds, not girls. Birds. I've had the birds, and I give him eat, and I enjoyed. I saw a snow, and today I had finished my ICA course, 14 for
Wow.
junkets. Yeah, and I'm very happy.
Wow. Very good. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Excellent. Okay. Who's next? Recording. Let me go to the next. I'm not keeping track, everybody, very well. Marcella.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Ah, perfect. Great.
Now I can't. You're going to give us a rejoicing?
Yes. Yes, I rejoice in having the opportunity to help a couple of very dear friends with my time and with some financial resources. And by that, I hope I'm planting this sense of family and knowing that we have each other.
Very good. And you're setting the seeds to have the help you need in the future. Very
Yes.
good. Okay. Maria.
Hi, it's Maria. Yeah, I rejoice in having the opportunity to go to a kids' theater last night with my family, take my son there, and I saw him smiling and liking the show, and we spent very good time. So I'm rejoicing in having the family and being able to make my kid happy. And I'd like to dedicate that for every kid anywhere to be born into a family who loves them and takes care of them and tries to make them happy.
Very good. That's very sweet. I think the family is an incredibly powerful practice for us, for a practitioner. That's a constant need to be checking and making sure they're happy and getting everything they need, knowing that's how you're going to get that in the future. That's very sweet. Okay, who's next? Anastasia, what do you have to rejoice about?
Это я, верно? Всем добрый вечер. Есть возможность сделать перевод?
Yes, for English translation, please switch to English channel for English speaking.
Окей. Я рада всех видеть, всех новых участников, и всех, кто был ранее на, ну, на
I'm glad to
ECI.
see all the participants of the course and you, Venerable Sumati, also.
Тому, что у меня получилось сделать подарок моей сестре, купить ей билет на спектакль, о котором она очень хотела сходить, и
And I
была эта возможность. Ее реакция для меня была очень радостная и приятная.
I rejoice on the fact that I had the opportunity to buy a ticket to the theater for my sister, and I rejoice on her reaction. That was great, on her emotions for this gift.
Good. You're setting the generosity for in the future, someone helping you with something to make you happy. Excellent. Okay. Olga.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I rejoice that I have been able to dedicate time to my practice, to clean the space, and to do like like to do my meditation. And I dedicate this to have like maybe more opportunities to meditate. And to keep my practice and use my meditation to my practice.
Good. Good. And not getting mad at your dogs. Excellent. Okay, who do I have left here? Oh, I have a few Russian names I have no idea how to pronounce. How? I see. Oh. Well, whoever hasn't rejoiced yet, go ahead and open your mic and rejoice.
Елена, Ирина.
As Yevgeny, do you want to rejoice?
Да, конечно, легко, только меня нужно перевести, пожалуйста. Я хочу порадоваться.
Not getting a translation.
Я хочу порадоваться тому, что мой год закончился на этом курсе. Именно я сдал финальный экзамен 31 декабря. И я начал его еще раз с Нового года. Это прям, ну, какой-то символ для меня второй раз послушать этот курс. И я записываю уже 3-й курс с досточтимым Сумати. Я реально очень счастлив. Я прям наслаждаюсь проведением его занятий. У меня такое ощущение, что я как будто оказываюсь где-то не в этой реальности и просто улетаю. И сейчас я повторно слушаю этот курс, мне кажется, что и такое ощущение, что я его не проходил даже, я заново его слушаю. И я очень хотел порадоваться за всех предыдущих участников, прям, ну, мне не сходит улыбка с лица, прям потому что Геш Майкл сказал, его учитель дал ему задание радоваться там каждый день тому, что ты каждый день делаешь что-то хорошее, и радоваться за тех, кто делает что-то хорошее другим. И я беру с вас всех 10%. Спасибо большое.
I'm not, is someone translating that? Because I didn't catch that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Okay. Evgeny told us that he finished his ACI course on the 31st of December. And now in January, he started again to listen to this course, ACI 3, and he said that he's very happy to be able to listen to this course again, and that this is his third course with you that he's helping to record, and he also feels very grateful and happy about it. And he also mentioned that he feels as if he were in some other reality during your classes, and he is rejoicing a lot on all these facts, and also he is rejoicing on all other previous participants of this course, and he is rejoicing very intensely to get his 10% to himself with this joy.
Wow, excellent. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the classes. Okay, Mike, if you're there, you have a chance to rejoice. If you're not there, you don't. Well, looks like he's not there. Okay. Now, what do I have to rejoice in? Well, I'm working on transcribing Geshe Michael's Lamrim courses. I'm going to start teaching those soon. And I ran into a major problem on my computer that took 8 hours over 2 days to get help from Microsoft. And they still didn't solve the problem. But I figured it out last night at about 2 in the morning. And so things are back to working. I had an interesting opportunity. I gave back a program that I had purchased because it messed up my computer. And when I downloaded the original Microsoft program, I got a copy of what I'd given back. So I could have kept the program that I returned, but I didn't. So it didn't occur to me to keep it, but there was a way for me to keep a program that I'd given back. And it didn't even occur to me to do that. So I rejoice in the fact that I realize a mistake by Microsoft isn't I should take advantage of, even though they're a huge corporation and I'm not. So an opportunity for me to do something wrong presented itself. And I didn't even for a moment think that I should take advantage of that. So I just rejoice in having the teachings from Geshe Michael to give me the moral compass not to even think about doing that. It's easy for us to think a large company like Microsoft will never miss $70 worth of program costs, but it's a little mistake that would grow into a larger ethical problem if I hadn't thought of it. So I rejoice in that. What else do I rejoice? I think that's setting the conditions for me to have people not take advantage of me in the future. So, okay.
Also, Mike Hoffman was here. He just couldn't turn on the radio. The audio. He wrote his rejoice in the chat. He rejoices that he could help his parents this weekend to move some things and take care of their space so that everyone may enjoy a clean space and have the help that they need.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see that in the chat, but I'm not very good at all this stuff. Okay, thank you, Mike. And thank you for helping your parents. That's a huge merit to help very significant karmic objects. Okay, so today's class is on the 6 preliminaries and includes the 7 ingredients, which we'll go into in a minute. So the names of the 6 preliminaries: number 1, clean and tidy up your meditation area. Set up your altar and make offerings, number 2. Number 3, do your prostrations. Go for refuge, generate bodhicitta, etc. Number 4, visualize your lamas. Number 5, purify obstacles. And that uses the 7-limb prayer, which we'll go into detail, and request blessings. So these preliminaries have been used by beings for years, centuries, and it's a way for them to reach their own enlightenment, and they really do work. So it's important for a good meditation, meaningful meditation, to do these preliminaries each time before your meditation session. So in the liberation in the palm of your hand, it contains exquisite detail of each of the preliminaries. We're going to go through them now in some detail. So first preliminary, clean up your room and altar area. It doesn't matter if nothing's dirty. The act of cleaning your space is a cause for your Buddha paradise in the future. So as I said before, your altar space should be a holy space. It should be not be an area where you put your purse or your wallet or your keys. It should be a holy place that you respect and keep clean and treat appropriately. Do 3 prostrations before sitting. Actually, before you'd even do that, you would take your offering and put it on your altar. We'll discuss that with the offering bowls. You make 3 prostrations before you get down for your meditation. What's a prostration? I had one student who was quite a well-known actress, and she wouldn't do prostrations for a while because she felt it was wrong. And we're not prostrating in submission, which is what she felt. I prostrate out of thankfulness. The teachings are available. I'm humbled by the power of them, and I feel the need to make a prostration to pay respect for those that have gone before and help me with learning how to change the world. So when you make your prostration, you do this: crown, mouth, and heart. And your fingers should be tucked in like this. So it's like a lotus flower. So your hands are like this. Yeah. Crown, mouth, heart. I wish I could reach being a Buddha in my behavior. I wish I could reach being like a Buddha in my speech. And I wish I could reach being like a Buddha in my thinking and awareness in my mind. So you're saying that to yourself, here, here, and here. Now, if you're going to do not a mental prostration, if you're going to do a prostration where you go down slowly because you're reluctant to go to a lower rebirth. And there are 5 points of contact. You go down, your hands are 2, your knees touch, that's another 2, then you touch your forehead. Now, I think there should be 7 points of contact because your feet are on the ground too. But usually it's taught that there's the fingers and hands. Your hands, fingers are together. You go down, your knees, and then you touch your forehead. And you come up quickly. And that signifies dragging lower beings up with your motivation. Geshe Michael says the first real prostration you make is after the direct perception of emptiness. Okay, so you've set up your altar. Traditional offering are 7 water bowls. Did you all get the video? That
No,
took,
which video?
I sent a video
On
that
Telegram?
shows how to set up the water bowls. If you didn't get it,
Oh, I got it. I got it. Thank you.
okay. That took half an hour. Something that simple took half an hour, but
I'll
it
be
was
sure to
fun.
watch it.
So in ancient India, these 7 things were what you would do for a distinguished visitor. So I showed you how to set up the water bowls. And remember, the first water bowl is pure water for drinking and rinsing the mouth. The second bowl is pure water for washing your feet. And the custom of crossing a threshold with clean bare feet. Number 3 is fresh flowers. The male visitor would get a garland of flowers. The female, a smaller flower for her hair. The 4th bowl, burning incense for the gods, pleasant sense of smell. The 5th represents lamp, lighting, illumination of wisdom. The 3rd represents perfume to refresh the face and breast. 7th represents food for honored guests. Now, if you're doing the water bowls, you take them down at night and you put them back up every morning. So it's very important to do that. There's an 8th bowl you can do that represents music, usually not represented by a water bowl. It's very important in the ritual not to put an offering bowl up on your altar. They should always be, if they're on your altar and have nothing in them, they should be upside down. So I think the video was fairly self-explanatory on how to do it. Because of my Parkinson's, I don't do water bowls. There'd be water all over everywhere. So I use bowls that have rice, as I showed in the video. And then at the very last, I have an offering of food, and that's I use animal crackers as my offering every morning. I put 3 new animal crackers in. Okay. They shouldn't touch. They should be about a rice grain distance apart. Water is used because it's easy to come by, and so you won't have to scrimp on your offerings. If you've ever been to one of Lama Zopa's temple altars, he has hundreds of water bowls in his temple. The 8 benefits from offering water are these. Offering cool water brings about pure morality. Offering delicious water brings realizations of supreme taste. Offering light water results in fitness of body and mind. Smooth water, a gentle character. Clear water, a clear intellect. Water free of bad odors. Purify oneself of obscurations. Offering water, pure water that does not harm the stomach, protects against illness. And offering water that does not harm the throat, gives a pleasant voice. So additionally on the altar, there should be these 3 things representing the body, speech, and mind of a Buddha. The body, there should be an image of Lord Buddha. It can be a picture, it can be a statue. representing his speech would be a scripture, a copy of a scripture, or a copy of the source of all my good, or three principal paths. I have a copy of the Diamond Cutter Sutra on my altar. And the last one is the mind of a Buddha. And that I represent with a small stupa statue. I can show you. This is, whoops. I can't, there you go. This is my stupa statue. You can get one of these. That represents the mind of a Buddha. I also have a picture of Geshe Michael on my altar and a picture of my lovely wife. So you should put some sort of offering every day, fresh offering, a fruit, a cookie, something nice if you can. And yes, this is a ritual. It's something that can turn off many people. I just suggest go with the symbolism and think of it all when setting out each morning and taking it down each night. The more you can give your altar meaning by the power of your concentration, the more present it will be, and it sets seeds in your mind for the Buddha and Buddhism to be there in your life. It doesn't have to be ornate and complicated. It doesn't have to be huge. It just have to have significance for you. When you see it, you think of your practice and what you're trying to achieve with your practice. So the third preliminary would be your posture, taking refuge in bodhicitta. Full lotus is best. Half lotus is okay. Your posture should be something comfortable enough to hold still for the duration of the meditation part of your practice. So it doesn't matter if you can do full lotus or not. It's what matters is you have a comfortable position where you can be still for the duration of your meditation. Full lotus has benefits for channel work. I could never get into full lotus. Cushion should be higher in the back than the front to tilt the pelvis. We'll go into more detail on the actual posture. It's called the 7 posture of Virachana, but we'll talk about that later. Then you go for refuge. Well, then I offer the mandala. Then you go for refuge. You realize that up until now you've been centered on yourself. So you're going for refuge with the idea you're going to put others first. And Master Shantideva has a wonderful quote in his Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Chapter 8, stanza 129. Whatever joy there is in this world, all comes from desiring others to be happy. And whatever suffering there is in this world, all comes from desiring yourself to be happy. So I want to repeat that. Whatever joy there is in this world, all comes from desiring others to be happy. And whatever suffering there is in this world, all comes from desiring yourself to be happy. Next, you generate bodhicitta. Set your motivation to go into each meditation with the aspiration to reach total enlightenment for the sake of all living beings. Now, this is confusing in the ACI courses, so I want to make this very clear. The ACI student notes say bodhicitta and often, and they mean Mahayana bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is wanting to achieve the mind of a Buddha. Bodhicitta is wanting to help others be free of suffering. Well, bodhicitta is, no, let me rephrase that. Mahayana bodhicitta is wanting to reach enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings. Regular bodhicitta is wanting to reach enlightenment for yourself. So when you say bodhicitta, it's most proper to say Mahayana bodhicitta, because that's total enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings. So I gave you a handout that talks about bodhicitta. There's the listeners and self-made Buddhas, and there's the Mahayana practitioners. It's very important to know the difference. Mahayana practitioners want to reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being and to help all living beings. Self-made Buddhas want to reach nirvana, which they consider to be enlightenment, as do listeners. So I think as we further our studies and think about bodhicitta, we're on the ACI courses are on the Mahayana track. And so whenever we think about bodhicitta, we're trying to reach enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings. Next, you visualize the merit field. What I do there is I take the teacher, in my case, Geshe Michael, and I visualize him a full prostration length away from me. So full prostration is where you get down and you reach all the way out, you're flat. So it's about 6 feet away at eye level, and he's sitting there in 3 dimensions, and not a tonk or a picture. I think of him as 3-dimensional. It can be anybody. It could be your husband, it could be your parents, it could be anybody that you have high respect for and see as a mentor. When you first do this, you'll probably not be able to picture them completely. So see an outline and then fill the outline in. But it's important to see them in front of you. And the more elaborate refuge, you could have Lord Buddha there, surrounded by a variety of other Buddhas. I think for beginning practitioners, the important thing is to put someone you highly respect, your teacher, Geshe Michael, His Holiness, like I said, your parents, your spouse, a good friend, someone you highly respect. Number 5 of the preliminaries is the 7-limb prayer, the 7 ingredients. So this is a little more complicated, and so I'm going to go through it a little more slowly. You're purifying obstacles here. So the first, you do 3 mental prostrations. I see this as paying homage to my Lama for all their good qualities, and they're teaching me the Dharma so sweetly. Then you offer again mentally, I offer my practice. That's the highest thing I can offer anybody. Then there's the confession. You open your heart to what you've done and regret it. When you learn the 4 powers of purification, this is where you can offer something that wasn't so good that you did. And then you do the 4 powers of purification. Then you rejoice. Then you ask them to turn the wheel of Dharma. Then you ask them to stay in your life. And then you dedicate. So how do you do this routinely? I do it this way. And I gave you the condensed, let me see. I gave you the condensed 7-limb prayer, I thought. Yeah. So condensed meditation preliminaries. So you've made your offerings, you've cleaned the area, you put your offerings up, then you sit and you say, with my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. So you do your mental prostrations. I make offerings both set out and imagined. Make your offerings mentally. I confess my wrong deeds from all time and rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases and turn the wheel of Dharma forth. I dedicate all virtues to the great enlightenment. So you're seated before you do your meditation. You say, with my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. You make the prostration mentally. I make offerings both set out and imagined. There I say, I offer to practice all that you've taught me and make that the goal in my daily life. I confess my wrong deeds from all time. I'll take the last thing I did, a vow that I may have broke, or something I did that I'm not proud of, and I do the 4 powers of purification, which you don't know yet, but we will teach you. And then rejoice in the virtues of all. Think of something good you've seen someone do or that you've done, and you rejoice in that. Then you ask them to stay. And you ask them to turn the wheel of Dharma. So this is where you would say, please stay in my life and please stay and teach me the Dharma. Then you dedicate all the virtues to the great enlightenment. Now, there's an interesting thing about rejoicing. Rejoicing what others do. Well, I don't want to get into that right now. Rejoicing in your own goodness, that you have a precious human life, and that you have been exposed to the Dharma is especially powerful. Ask they turn the wheel of Dharma. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are available to teach, but will do so only if we ask. Requesting his teachers to stay in your life. Dedication. we wrap up the 7 ingredients with the dedication of virtue of getting ready for meditation. Now, there's an interesting thing about dedicating your virtue. This sounds a little complicated, but in the Sutra of Questions posed by Sagara Mati, when we dedicate something we've done, a good deed that we've done, we protect it from being destroyed by a moment of anger. So just as a drop of water fallen into the great ocean does not disappear as long as the ocean does not dry up, also virtue dedicated to enlightenment is not exhausted until Buddhahood is achieved. If you get angry at a bodhisattva, and since you don't know who a bodhisattva is, that means you shouldn't get angry at anybody. If you get angry at a bodhisattva, that can destroy years and years, lifetimes of virtue. So one, don't get mad at anybody. And if you dedicate a good deed, that protects it from being destroyed. So that's why after you do any good deed, you should always dedicate. So what I do after a good deed is I simply say, I dedicate what I've just done for the benefit of all sentient beings. And that protects it from being destroyed by a moment of anger. Okay, I'm going to have to take a minute. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I had prostate surgery, and after prostate surgery, when you need to go to the bathroom, you need to go to the bathroom. So that may be a little more detail than you wanted to know, but okay. So what's the point of today's class? In order to meditate, have your meditation be useful, be powerful, you need to do the preliminaries to meditation. And so we've gone through them. The most important part, or I shouldn't say most important, the difficult part is the 7 parts of the 5th step. So that's why I gave you the condensed version. With my body, speech, and you should be able to say this when you sit down to meditate. You shouldn't have to look at a piece of paper. You should be able to say this and go through it in your mind. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. You make your mental prostrations to the being you have in front of you. I make offerings both set out and imagined. You could offer them the sky, you could offer them a beautiful sunset, but you put new offerings on your altar. I make offerings both set out and imagine. I confess my wrong deeds from all time. Again, you take something you did. Well, when I was working on my computer problem, I got mad because I couldn't get something typed in time. So I say to myself, okay, I got mad. I shouldn't have. I'll do the 4 powers of purification to damage that anger seed so it doesn't ripen in full anger in my future life. And I rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases, asking your teachers to stay and teach you. Turn the wheel of Dharma for us. Have teachings. I dedicate all virtues to the great enlightenment. So it should go this quickly, in my opinion. Your preliminary shouldn't last 15 minutes. That's not a meditation. Your meditation doesn't start until you get on your object. So I do it at essentially at this pace. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. I make offerings both set out and imagine. I confess my wrong deeds from all time, and I rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases and turn the wheel of Dharma for us. I dedicate all virtues to the great enlightenment. I then, in my practice, I do the mandala offering then. So I sit down, do my preliminaries. Then I do the ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, the great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon, seen as the Buddha land and offered thus. May all beings enjoy such pure lands. The objects of greed, confusion, hatred, friend, stranger, and foe, our wealth and bodies gladly offered. Please accept these and bless us to be free from the 3 poisons. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niritayame. Then I do my refuge, and then I'm ready for my practice. There are a number of ways of doing this. This is just something I've done since I started my Buddhist practice. Golly, how many years ago now? 1996, 97. I sent you, one of the handouts I gave you has the yeah, I sent you the alternative condensed preliminaries. Oh, here it is. The alternative mandala offering. I sent that to you. That's not something I made up. That's from Lama Zopa's group in California. I really urge you all to memorize the 7 preliminaries, the short preliminaries I gave you, and to memorize the mandala offering and refuge. It's something you should memorize now and be using constantly before your meditation practice. Are there any questions?
Yeah, could I have a question. One. I'm so sorry for my bad English, but I have dream. I want to stay a translator, and
Well, go ahead.
and no,
Go
yeah,
ahead and say it in Russian, and she'll translate it.
no. Okay. If I right understand, every morning I put my offering for Buddhas, and
Yeah.
every evening I remove all offering, all, yeah, water and chocolate. I sometimes it's offering for Buddha, yeah.
Oh, what I do, I make the offering in the morning, and I leave, and I don't use water bowls. When I used water bowls, I took the water bowls down in the evening and then put them up again in the morning. And I left my offering overnight. I renewed the offering every morning. That's how I do it. But I take the water bowls down every night, as I showed you in the video, and put them up every morning. But with my Parkinson's now, it is really a mess to pour water into those bowls without spilling it. So it's easier for me to use the rice.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I like your offering of chocolate. I hadn't thought of that.
I love chocolate.
Yeah, I do too. I really like chocolate. Almost as much as I like my wife. I'm just kidding. That's not true. Any other questions?
Is the refuge prayer, is that request blessings? Is that the
Well,
alternative refuge prayer in the
but the alternative refuge prayer is just
or is that just the third preliminary?
the alternative refuge. Well, you can go for refuge with the standard one that's from ACI. I just happen to, in course 6, Geshe Michael talks about a more detailed refuge prayer. And so that's not really requesting blessings.
Okay.
It's promising. You're taking refuge and promising to do so. My body, speech, and mind. Well, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create, from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. That's more like your promise to do what is necessary to become enlightened. And you're taking refuge in the fact that this promise, you realize this promise is what's going to create your Buddha paradise.
Got it.
But that's just a more expanded version.
And what's the difference between asking for asking to turn the wheel of Dharma and for them to stay in your life, and then the request, the blessings, that the six
Perfection.
Yeah, around asking them to help you from disrespecting spiritual guide, and to help you reach that perception of emptiness. Is that's different, right?
Well, yeah, it's the 6 perfections. When you take the Bodhisattva vows, then you're pledging to practice the 6 perfections throughout your life, because the 6 perfections practiced perfectly is what's going to get you total enlightenment.
Oh, I meant the sixth, sorry, that's my bad for not being clear. That's the sixth preliminary.
Oh, requesting blessings from holy
Just
beings.
trying to see what form
Yeah.
that comes in.
Okay. The blessings. Let me just think about that for a minute. Okay. When we request blessings, we're requesting that our abilities to meditate, study, and understand grow even greater. So we're basically asking mentally that the teachings teach us what we need to know to become enlightened. So we're basically saying, please bless us with the teachings. When you bless somebody, you're giving them, well, how can I put this? You're not asking for permission. You're asking for their good thoughts and their help. When I get a blessing, I believe I've received help in order to study and make progress in my practice. So you're basically saying, whoever my teacher is, please help me practice, grow my knowledge. Bless me with your knowledge so that I may be a better practitioner. Does that help any?
Yes, thank you so much.
The blessings, when you bless somebody, well, when you bless somebody, you're basically, well, how can I put this? That I haven't really thought about. I just do it. If I bless a student, and I've done that occasionally, I'm basically sort of saying to them, good job. You're studying what you've and practicing what you've been taught. Congratulations, and I'm proud of you. That would be the somewhat a blessing would be for me. You've done what I've taught you. It's going to lead to your enlightenment. Good job. That to me is what a blessing is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And did I pronounce, is it Leah? Leela?
Layla.
Layla.
Yes.
Layla, like the Derek and the Dominoes song.
And the Eric Clapton song.
Yeah, well, Derek and the Dominoes, Eric Clapton and Greg Allman were members of that band. They put out one album.
Yes, like that song.
Yeah.
My parents
Well, I don't
know
know many people that know Derek and the Dominoes. You have good taste in music. Okay. So what we did in this class was basically go over the preliminaries. They're a very important part of your practice. Setting up the altar obviously is very important, but the 7 preliminaries, that's why I generated the short form with my body, speech, and mind, etc., because I can take that anywhere with me and know that I've done all 7 preliminaries. So if Geshe-la says we're going to do a brief meditation during class, and he doesn't go over the preliminaries for time constraints, you can basically quickly run through the 7 preliminaries and and make your meditation session that much more powerful. I think the other important thing I have the luxury in our house. We have on this house, in the house at Diamond Mountain, we had a room that we could make into our gompa, our temple. And we only went in there to meditate. We do our morning practice. Now, if you don't have that much room in your house, you can take a closet and make it into an altar area. But the important thing is to treat that as sacred space. So like I say, you don't throw your keys on the altar. You don't put your wallet in the altar. You don't put a cup of coffee on the altar as you do something else. It's a sacred space that you have high respect for, and you keep it clean.
I have another question, if that's all right.
Sure.
What in the altar stays, and what do you take down every night and get back up every morning?
Okay. What stays on the altar would be a picture of the Lord Buddha, a picture of your teacher. Well, that's what I have. Picture of my teacher. I have a picture of my lovely wife. I have the stupa. And I have a scripture. I have a pecha form of the Diamond Cutter Sutra that I have. You could take the source of all my good, print it out nicely on a piece of paper and fold it up if necessary and put that on your altar. So that's what stays. Then I have the 8 offering bowls with rice, and I take down in the morning, I leave the offering. I put the animal crackers in the rice bowl, 3 of them, body, speech, and mind. And I leave those overnight. And in the morning, I'll take those off and put fresh ones in. So that offering for me stays overnight. If you're doing water bowls, you do the water bowls in the morning, and then before you go to bed, you take them and empty the water as I showed in that video and stack the bowls ready for the next offering the next day. That's how I do it. You're welcome.
Hello, I also have a question. Dear
Okay.
Venerable Sumati, for possibility, I have maybe the most popular question in our chats. What to do with all these offerings? Fruits, chocolate, rice, to feed animals, just throw in the trash, to eat it, to go to send it, give it to maybe poor people. What to do with all these offerings?
That's a very good question, Anna.
Yeah, thank you.
For me, the reason I use the 3 animal crackers is I eat the offerings after I take them off. And so I don't become the size of a small planet. I have 3 small animal crackers that I eat. The tradition is to put them out for the animals. So if you have like a banana or a bowl of fruit, you would take that and offer it to the animals. You can also eat it. Or give it, I think a wonderful thing to do would be to put an offering on your altar that you could then take and give to the homeless. I think that would be extraordinary. But you don't throw it out in the trash. If you put any Dharma material of any kind in the trash, one, you should burn it. You shouldn't put it in the trash. But if you can't do that, you don't live in a place where you can light a fire, Then you take the material, you package it in a plastic bag to keep it separate from the garbage. You don't just throw it in the garbage and have it mingle with the other garbage. You put it in a plastic bag or a container so that it stays clean, even though it's in the trash. Does that make sense? It's very important that it not be, and this is true of Dharma material. If you have some printout of Dharma material, that shouldn't get crumpled up and thrown in the trash. That should be in a container that you can burn at some later date, or you put that in, even if it's a single piece of paper, you put that in its own plastic bag so it doesn't mingle with the garbage. The ideal is to burn it. So we have a bag that we have print out, and I put that in the bag, and then we go to Diamond Mountain, or we use a barbecue grill we have in our backyard, and we burn it. You shouldn't, and if you do this, I highly recommend you stop doing it. You don't put a cup of coffee on a Dharma book. You don't put a cup of tea on a Dharma book or on Dharma material. They're not coasters. They're very highly powerful material that you don't want to disrespect. There's another thing. I have a vow from my tantric vows, and I think this is worth sharing with you. You don't step over. If you're in a class with Geshe or somebody else, and everybody has their Dharma material spread out in front of them, two things to remember. One, your Dharma material never sits on the floor. It's always on something, a piece of cloth, something, but it's never sitting flat on the ground itself. It's always on some kind of a cover. And two, you never step over Dharma material. So you're in a temple or in a teaching, you get up from where you're seated, and you have other students have their Dharma material laid out in front of them. You walk around it. You don't step over it. That's showing respect for the Dharma. Now, are you going to be doomed to hell if you don't? Well, that's up for you to decide. I respect all the Dharma. I don't write in Dharma books. As an author myself, I respect the written word. And so I don't mark up texts. I never have, but that's another story. So it's being mindful. So what I do when I go to a teaching is I have a piece of brocade cloth, and I put that down, and then I put my notebook, my whatever I'm getting at the teaching, I put that down on the brocade, which is on a rug or on the floor. And I haven't laid the Dharma material on the floor. I've laid it on the brocade. So that begs the question, if you have a computer, can you put the computer down on the floor? I would say no, your computer should go on a piece of cloth between it and the floor. It's these little details that I think are the important part of respecting the Dharma and being aware of your practice. Okay. Let's dedicate today's teaching. I have quite a long dedication I did every day. during 3-year retreat. But I'm not going to read all of that now. Here's the dedication I'd like to give. May the source of benefit and goodness, the Dharma, spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma taught by the Buddhas, always increase. Thank you for the chance of teaching this. Svetlana, I'm going to send you this dedication prayer, 2 pages of dedication prayers. If you would translate that into Russian. And I'm not asking anybody to memorize it, but these are dedication prayers I used in 3-year retreat that might be helpful. There's one of them in particular. This is a dedication. So when you do a good deed and you want to dedicate it to protect it from being destroyed by a moment of anger, this is the dedication, a short one you can use. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. I will highlight that in what I send to Svetlana. It'll be in bold. You memorize that. You can say that after a good deed. Anywhere you are, you can say that after a good deed. Okay. So next class, I will have some review questions, and I'm just going to ask them, and anybody can answer that feels like it. I won't pick anybody in particular. Well, maybe I will. Well, maybe I change my mind. Be prepared. Okay. Good to see you all. I'm glad to see you smiling. I really appreciate your attention. My health is not getting any better, but I'm going to keep teaching until I can't. So take care. We'll see you Thursday, right? Okay. Bye-bye.